Passion.
Rivalry.
Tough.
The atmosphere.
It's the first thing you get told about when you move to the area. The first game everybody talks about is the Blackburn game, and you find out quite soon what it means to the local people.
Growing up as a Blackburn fan with the derby, because we hadn't played them for such a long time, it was just a matter of family, friends, Burnley supporters, Blackburn supporters filling you in really on what an occasion it's going to be.
They'd not had a lot of contact because Burnley had fallen down the leagues during the 90s. And Blackburn had obviously had their heyday in the 90s.
And then obviously when we got a chance to play them in that season, it was amazing atmosphere.
Just beyond Hughes, it's touchback and in. Jason McAteer after confusion in the Burnley defence from the long throw-in, and it's the visitors who've taken the lead.
Well, the build-up, I remember. Obviously, they had a local player, Andy Payton, playing who was Burnley's local, and obviously with myself being Blackburn's local player, we ended up having a darts match in the pub, and also there was rumours going around that the Burnley fans were clubbing together to paint my house claret and blue. I remember Marcus Bent in the 2-0 scoring.
Bent! Signed, sealed and delivered. The derby victory belongs to Blackburn.
I also remember the infamous tackle Kevin Ball made on me, which was pretty gruesome.
Well, Kevin Ball will have a problem after that challenge. Gary Flitcroft went in looking for instant retribution, and Fraser Stretton here has
Graham Souness
a major incident on his hands and opts for the red card.
Although it didn't hurt, it looked a lot worse than what it actually felt. And then the 5-0, wow, I mean, a great game to be involved in. I mean, the biggest thing that stands out about the promotion winning team is the team spirit we had. I think it was a really good mix between experienced players and the younger group of players that were coming through. You know, an amazing season. So one that I certainly look back very fondly on.
Celebration for which Burnley have had to wait a generation.
I'd obviously been at the club 8 years at that point, so I knew all about the derby, but knew all about the fact that the run had extended to a very, very long time, 35 years I think it was, that they'd not won. So I think they got reminded quite a lot by the Blackburn fans about that stuff. So going into that game, we were obviously going really well in the league, and there was real confidence in the team that we could go anywhere and win. So we went 1-0 down.
Low again. Space now for Rhodes, scores!
Jordan Rhodes hit the post.
There's a mistake there by Jones. And here's Rhodes, chance to make it 2! Oh, the post saves Burnley.
It was a real turning point in the game. At that moment, the game flipped on its head.
Shackle and Duff in the mix. Goalkeeper comes, doesn't get there. And Jason Shackle equalises for Burnley.
And then Danny Ings, obviously he was on the season of his life at that point, stabbed home from close range, and I just remember the place going absolutely bonkers.
Could be another test here for Robinson. In goes Wallace. And Ings, goal! Burnley in front. Danny Ings, who missed a great chance in the first half, wasn't going to miss that one.
The final whistle seemed to take forever, but it was definitely a moment to save.
You cannot underestimate
underestimate how big a win this is for Sean Dyche and Burnley. A huge step along the road to promotion.
We probably got promoted without being too disrespectful, probably with 13 or 14 players. But we had some stardust within that as well. You look at people like Kieran Trippier and the career that he's gone on to have. You look at Danny Ings, got a move to Liverpool and still played every week in the Premier League. But they were the two. They were the two. And we knew that as well. As players, we weren't stupid. We knew that they were the quality within it, and we knew that if we could tie the rest of it together, and obviously a very, very good manager at the time, that it was the spirit that got us through, like a real small band of brothers almost. That game in 2014, I'd been at the club a long time now, at that point, so I knew the significance of it. And there's that game. I think there was another game a couple of years later. We beat them. Scotty Arfield scored a brilliant goal, and it was actually me and him ran hand in hand the full length of the pitch, running down and celebrating until about 50 yards when I blew up, and he left me and ran off to the supporters. Amazing feelings, because they're the games you want to be playing in.
Well, I think both teams, as everyone can see, are flying high, both in really good form.
I think it will be a tight game, it will be a scrappy game. I know Burnley could play a completely different way now in terms of the total football almost, but I think the first 20 minutes it might be hard to get your foot on the ball and have to find a couple of passes, because it would be blood, guts and thunder.
Burnley are probably going to dominate possession, I would have thought, but that won't be a bad thing, because I think every time Blackburn this season have had over 50% possession, they've ended up having a worse record. So I think if Burnley dictate and Blackburn have less than 50%, I think the likelihood is that they'll be very strong with it.
The predictions are pretty obvious. I think my allegiance with the claret and blue team.
But I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to say it's going to be Blackburn's first league draw of the season, and I'm not sure whether to go 1-1 or 2-2.